Greetings and welcome to Super Speak Sundays with your host, James TheOrator. I hope you all are having a great Sunday. The weather's starting to change, but you know what? Everything has a season. And so we want to welcome you. We want to encourage you to smash that subscribe button. I know you did it last week, or you told 5 people, but we need you to tell 5 more this week to smash that subscribe button, y'all, so we can help you to help yourself, if you know what I mean. Hey, we got an exciting show, but before we talk about today's show, we want to talk about last week's show with brother Howie Bell, comedian Howie Bell from Detroit, Michigan. Hey, the brother is heavy. Not only is he a comedian, but he is a philosopher and a motivator. And so if you did not see that episode, please make sure you go back and watch comedian Howie Bell on Let's Get It Together. That's his slogan. So if you haven't seen him, hey, get to Detroit, y'all, and see him. Hey, we're happy to have you today. Tonight's show, 7 o'clock, we have something special. I decided I would do something. You know, when we look at the landscape of the United States, we're losing a lot of young men, and we lose them because, you know, of so many traumatic experiences that they experience, but also the impact or the lack of impact that parents are having with our children. And so today I decided that I would bring on my own sons. I have 3 sons, and I'm really, really excited to bring them on. As just like any other household, you know, we've had our ups and downs in terms of growing pains. But it's important to know that with my 3 sons, one son is 32, one is 21, and the other one is soon to be 17 on the 2nd of October. And so there's a wide spectrum. There's a huge gap in between each of them, and they're all in a different place right now. And so I thought it would be very interesting to bring them on. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce my sons. I want to bring on my oldest son first, Amon. Amon, how you doing, son? Can't hear you. I think you're muted. You're muted right now. So we got Amon. How you doing, Amon?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. How you doing, son?
Okay. I'm doing
all right.
Good. How you doing?
All right. We got my second son, the 21-year-old, James TheOrator, down at Tuskegee University. TU.
You know. Hey, what's going on?
All right. How you doing, son? And then my youngest son, the baby boy, bringing up the rear, Nigel, 16, soon to be 17 on October 2nd. What's up, Nigel?
How you doing?
All right. So, hey, you know what? We're going to start off by, I really want you all to kind of talk about, you know, who you are, you know, who you've become. And so we're going to start with, and again, you know, this whole broadcast is unscripted. I mean, we don't have any questions, anything we prepared. We're just going to shoot from the hip. But just kind of tell the people who you are. Amon, we're going to start with you since you're the oldest.
Well, I'm 32 years old. I'm a project manager. I'm into music. I'm into just the arts, acting. I'm into clothing. I'm into sports. So yeah, that's pretty much me. So
all right, James TheOrator, who are you?
James TheOrator, also go by Q to most. I'm a 4th year student at Tuskegee University, a 4th year computer science student at Tuskegee University. I currently hold a couple of positions on campus. I currently serve as the 2nd attendant to Mr. Tuskegee. So I am campus royalty. I also serve as the secretary for the Boys to Gentlemen organization that we have on campus. Some of my interests and hobbies are I enjoy biking, golfing, and thrifting. Similar to my brother, I do have an eye for fashion. or a passion for fashion, as I would say. And that's pretty much it about me.
All right, Nigel.
How you guys doing? My name is Nigel. I am a junior. I go to Brebeuf Jesuit Preparatory School, college prep school. Some things that interest me, I actually like fitness and like to run and being in shape, and like to spend time with family. I'm still trying to figure out specifically what I like to do on my free time. I'm still kind of in that experimental stage, but working towards it every day, and just to see what my hobbies are and what I like to do on my free time.
Yeah. And so you know what? As I listen, all of you have come to a place now where you weren't maybe 5 years ago. Talk about where you were 5 years ago mentally, as it relates to you being reared, in our household. How difficult how difficult or not do you feel it was? Anybody can jump in.
Um, go ahead, Q.
You muted, Q. There you go.
My bad. I was just saying to cover the aspect of looking back from 5 years and where I was 5 years ago and making my matriculation to where I am now. I was a senior 5 years ago in high school, attending Brebeuf like my younger brother. I'm getting ready to go off to college. Um, I felt like growing up in the household that I did, I was given the tools necessarily needed to be in the positions that I am in now. As far as my success that I've had, whether that's through like my career aspirations or just like other things I have interest in.
Anybody
So
else jump in?
overall, I would just say I've had a great, strong foundation that I've built on top of.
I asked this question, and it's good you brought that up, Q. You talked about the foundation, but maybe 5 years ago you didn't really understand. You kind of work. I'll say this: all three of you all kind of worked against the foundation initially because as the pieces were being put in place, you were, as I was trying to take dirt out, you all were kind of throwing it back in at times. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I'll say that initially, the things that you instilled in us when I was younger, it was kind of like I knew you weren't I knew you had my best interest, but it's kind of like I wanted to figure things out on my own, or I guess kind of bump my head a little bit. But now that I'm older, I say about 5 years ago, about 27 years old, is when I really realized, hey, I might not have liked how you went about, parenting, but it was definitely helpful and it was needed, and it prepared me for life, So.
All right, Nigel, you got anything to add?
I don't really feel like I can tap into this conversation just because I'm still young and learning, and I'm still kind of going through that of like that stage of you parenting me still, so I really can't really tap into this conversation.
Let me ask this for you, Nigel. So, when you've heard things that your brothers have said about things kind of come full circle. I mean, are you starting to see some of the things that your mother and I that we have tried to instill in? One day you might say, "Wow, I've heard this before." I mean, has that happened, or have you experienced that at all?
I mean, in some things, but like to kind of go off with a mindset, I feel like I still have to experience some things on my own. I feel like that's just a part of growing up in life. But I feel like some things you don't want to do things that you can't still like recover back from that you can't learn from. So yeah, to go off with a mindset, I just feel like I still have to bump my head on some things just to learn. I feel like that's to a certain extent that's a part of life.
But so there are some people who, and I think you touched on this, Nigel. Some people bump their heads to the point where there's no point of return, And so as we talk to parents out here and young people who might be listening to all, what do you tell a young person who says, well, I got to find my own way, but then they're on the brink of, almost destruction? What do we say to them?
I would say resort back to your parents. Your parents have their best interests and they want to see you succeed. They just want to see succeed. They want to see you be your best. So always resort back to your parents. And if you have any questions, just ask your parents.
To piggyback off of that, from personal experience, a lot of times I feel like kids growing up in this day and age, they feel like they don't know what their parents are talking about, or that their parents have no kind of idea about like what's going on as far as like what kids are going through in this day and age. Um, and like you said, I just feel like things do come full circle, and a lot of times when your parents are telling you certain things, 9 times out of 10, they probably have experienced it before, and they know the outcome of that decision that you're making, or uh, um, that decision that you're making, or that opportunity that you are seeking that may be not impactful for your future going forward.
Yeah, Amon, you got anything to add?
No, not to that.
Okay.
They pretty much touched everything.
Amon, you were my very first son that I raised. And your mom and I, we were really, really young. Of course, there's no book. Of course, you have your spiritual books, but there's no book to tell you, hey, do this, do that when your child does different things. What you have your own children now. What have you learned about raising your own children?
Every child is different, so your tactics on how to maybe discipline or go about certain things will be different with every kid. You just have to learn your kids and learn how to pretty much make them do what you need them to, in a way that they think they're the ones taking control. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes when you tell a kid something, it can go the opposite way. Instead of making them feel like, hey, well, you should do this because I know that you mentioned to me that this is what you wanted to do. And then they process it like, hey, yeah, you're right. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this move, instead of you telling them, and now they want to do the opposite just because you told them this is the route to go, So that's one major thing that I've learned from being a parent.
Yeah. I can remember particularly mine, and I've seen this with you and all generations. I can remember when people were wearing the white tees, and, then it became people were wearing black tees, and people, young men doing different things. What has manhood meant to you all? I mean, there's so many young men who are growing up, without a positive male role model, and they tend to, if they're, and again, this is not a knock on women, but if a young boy is being raised by women only, maybe it be an auntie or the mom, and there's no father around, they tend to pick up what we call feminine traits, which means that they make decisions based on emotions and things of that nature. What is it meant to have positive male role models in your lives? Anybody can jump in.
I think the number one thing for me with having positive male role models in my life, is guidance. Um, I think guidance plays an important part on all aspects of life, whether you're on the job. I feel like you would need a mentor um, to help you matriculate through that specific career or job that you're going through, or a sport. You look at that. Sports are good teachings of life all around. For that aspect, it would be like to improve your game, maybe a trainer. Um, so I feel like I've had all of these things growing up as a young man, and it is spearheaded, like I said, as I continue to reiterate my success that I've been having early on as a young adult.
What you think, Nigel? What are your thoughts?
I would say having a male influence definitely plays a big part. Um, Even since being young, I mean, I'm young now, but even being young, like since I'm the youngest, just growing up watching, you know, males doing what they're supposed to be doing, um, you kind of just grow up and follow. I wouldn't say follow, but you kind of um, take in some of the things that you watched growing up. So I thought that definitely plays a big part in growing up and being a adult in today's society.
Yeah, you know, many of us watch. And again, I keep picking on you, but you were the first one, and so I can
Hmm.
remember growing up, and I think all of you have experienced this. But growing up, back when I was coming up, I mean, there were no cell phones. We had like beepers and stuff like that. So cell phones eventually came, but then we had this thing, and we want to send a huge shout out to 50 years of hip hop, because hip hop is a thing that definitely shaped my life. But Amon, you at some point, you I think that parents have this goal of wanting to live through their children, and I
Hmm.
know I did it for me when it came to sports. When it came to maybe choosing what you were going to do after high school. I found myself wanting you to live through the things that I didn't do. I don't know if I ever told
Hmm.
you that. And so I really push for you, to go to college and to do all these things. But we know, I mean, as well as anybody else, that everybody doesn't have to go to college. I mean, I have a PhD, but college is not for everyone, because there are skilled trades that we have major shortages in. But you
Right.
decided when you finished high school that you wanted to go into music. And I said,
Hmm.
man, come on. But then I had to take a step back and allow you to develop into who you have become. Talk a little bit about
Hmm.
where you were at that time, graduating from high school, and having to, moving, in your own apartment, and then, how it went. It was a crazy
Right.
time for all of us, I think.
Yeah. So initially graduating high school, of course, to piggy off of what Nigel said, being around um, black men that's showing you how pretty much what success looks like. Um, you, I already knew I wanted to be successful. I just didn't really know what. Um, so of course I went off to college for the physical therapy thing. That didn't work out. But while I was doing that, I kind of found my passion in music and in the performing arts area. Um, it was kind of a frustrating time. I know for you and mom as well, because of course it's a lot of things that come with the music industry and things like that. But I really, at that time, I was really just figuring out who I was as a man, and what I wanted out of life. And we talked earlier about bumping your own head and learning, and so I had to do that. Um, and honestly, all of that happened to make me who I am, and I don't really regret anything.
Yeah.
Right now, I got a beautiful wife, beautiful family, um, good job. My dreams are coming true. So uh, that rough patch, I guess, out of high school, early college, early 20s, it was needed. Of course, I mean, I wish things would have went a little bit smoother, a little bit easier, but anything worth having is not easy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What about you, James the Fourth? I mean, you went off to Tuskegee, and you were there. You ended up pleasant, and then you ran into a little difficult, a rough patch as well. Now we're talking to parents who might send their child off to school. What things are important? When you go off to school.
I think I'm gonna touch back on ensuring that you have a strong foundation um, built when you go off. When you go off to school, you're on your own. It's kind of like you're kind of getting a little bit of taste of what the real world is going to be like once you leave and graduate from that school. So you don't have mom and dad there to tell you every little thing to do. Go do your homework, go to practice, wash your clothes, clean up, things of that nature that you kind of have to carry on with you to ensure that that you don't run into like any of those problems or uh, small shortcomings that you will have. Um, when I first got to Tuskegee, I came during COVID. So knowing myself and knowing who I was as a person, leaving the nest, I kind of had an opportunity to, I want to say, reinvent myself as a person in a certain aspect. Um, I kind of consider myself more of an introvert. I feel like ever since I came to Tuskegee, I've kind of blossomed from being I feel like I still consider myself an introvert, but I've kind of blossomed in a sense um, with getting involved in different clubs and organizations um, that has kept me on track. I could definitely speak towards the going off to school and pledging and
But what fraternity you in?
only the greatest fraternity known to man, uh, the South Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Um, the legend, and I'm a part of the legendary Lambda Epsilon chapter here in Tuskegee University. But sorry. Uh, what was we talking about?
Now
Oh,
you
I think I remember. Yeah. So just just to wrap it up, um, just sticking towards the strong foundation that your parents have built for you and continuing to use those jewels and things that they try to provide for you at home. Because, like I said, everything does come full circle. I've even into some things that my parents told me that were gonna happen when I got to school, and I was like, "Oh, that's not gonna happen," and then it happens, and then it's like you get that kind of like aha moment, like they told me about this, they warned me about this. So, um, I wouldn't necessarily like when your parents are telling you different things. I would just take heed to it, even though it could come off sometimes the wrong way. They just want the best for you, and they know they pretty much have a good sense of um, what's to come for you.
all right. Nigel, you're 16, soon to be 17. You're going to a HBCU tour on Monday, and you're going to visit a number of schools. What when you talk about your foundation, I mean, what's been some of the elements? I know you mentioned having strong black men around you, but what do you feel has been some of the strong elements that's helped you? Because again, when when you first started the freshman year, you struggled academically, and unlike what we did for a mom, where we were really, really on them and pushing and pushing and pushing, we've kind of laid back with you and kind of been more supportive. I mean, do you feel like that's been an effective approach to improving your performance?
Yeah, I definitely think that has helped being more laid back because, like Amon said, you just have to know your kids. Like each kid is different. Personally, I don't respond well to uptight and like get your grades. I just don't respond well to that. I just need to. I know what like I can do, and I perform at my best when it's just me doing the work and no pressure. I don't like. I honestly don't believe in pressure. I feel like pressure is a mental thing,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I just when it's just me and I don't really have anybody pushing me. I feel like that's when I perform my best. And the first question you asked was what other things have helped you to become who I am today? I definitely think the people you hang around definitely plays a big part in who you're gonna become. You definitely have to have friends around you that want the best for you and aren't leeches and just not providing anything for you. You guys should both be helping each other to advance to the next level and become better people every day.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. I totally agree with you. I think, like I've always said to you all, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And that's proven to be true. That's proven to be true. You know, I guess not, again, I talked about the fact that, oftentimes, parents want to live vicariously through their children. Um, but you know, there was a time when all of you all, as a father, I'm like, hey, come on, man, turn the light bulb on, turn the light bulb on. But then when you step back, the light bulb eventually comes on. Everybody has a gift, but they open it at different times. And so I had a dad ask me just the other day. He said, man, I've been pushing my son and trying to get him to do this. And I said, hey, man, I said, you need to take a step back and allow him to, go through the process. I said, when his light bulb turns on, you won't be able to turn it off and you won't be able to stop him. And that's what I see for each of you right now, man. You all have, like I told you before we came on stage, you all have made your mom and I very, very proud. Again, it hasn't always been an easy journey, and we don't want to make it seem like, there haven't been any challenges, because we all have had challenges. But we really, man, want to let you all know that that you all have made us proud. I would rather put money towards you going to school or going something than put money, man, to a lawyer or anything else to get you out of jail or get you out of any trouble. And thank God you all have not, been in trouble. You all are good young men. Well, men now, men and young men. And I want you all to continue to do that. There's some things that that we need to do, in terms of our family, with reaching out and being more, the same information that we have, we should be able to pass that to others. Because the truth of the matter is, I think I've said this to you all before. When you live in a society where the majority of young men are growing up without a positive role model in the house, it may seem like the things that your parents are saying are foreign, because everybody else is doing this, but you got this small percentage of young men who have a strong male in the house. How difficult has that been to operate? Knowing that you're the minority when it comes to strong men.
It's definitely tough. I could just remember like kids being able to stay out like all night, and I'm like, man, like why I can't, stay out and, ride my bike to wherever, or, things like that. But looking back on those same people now, uh, you could tell that they didn't have that, like a curfew, or they weren't taught discipline, or they weren't taught respect even. So uh, it is kind of tough as a kid, because like I said, you see everybody else doing it one thing, but this what your parents telling you, and like Q said earlier, it's yeah, it's just it's a tough thing for kids.
Yeah, yeah. Nigel, what do you think?
to go off what Amon said, it's definitely tough to see, like, kids not having any curfews, or really just having a lot of freedom and not having any structure or discipline at home. But I think it goes back to what I said before. It's who you're around and what's your crowd. If everybody around you has a curfew, that seems normal. But if everybody around you doesn't have a curfew, it's like you might seem like you're the out one, or you might want to go against what your parents are saying. But in reality, they just want the best for you, and I feel like that's what you get. You did a good job with it. You had discipline. You had structure at home. Wasn't any staying out all night. Be home at your curfew, and that was the end of the discussion. So I feel like that's what you did pretty good job with.
And still do for you, right?
Still got that curfew.
James Dix, the fourth. You know
For me,
you go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say for me, I think it's a discipline thing. When you get the opportunity to go off to college, you're gonna realize that a lot of people, they didn't grow up like you. They don't have the same morals, values, or, well, a large majority. You're gonna run into like some people who have similar values and morals that you were brought up upon, like within your family. But I've had the opportunity to witness that when you get to college, like, everybody isn't the same in certain aspects. So uh, that's all I have to say on that.
All right. Well, look, final question, and we're gonna wrap this thing up. There's a mother or father or a young person who's listening to this right now. What words of wisdom do you have for a family who might be sitting down together, or, like I said, a single mom or a single father or a child? What final thoughts, Nigel?
I would say don't compare what you have going on, or your relationship with your parents or your kids, to what other adults or other kids have going on with their parents. Each relationship is different with each child and with each adult. So just embrace your relationship with your parents, and don't let outside people that don't want the best for you to kind of change the way you look at things in your household.
All right, James the fourth. Final thoughts.
I would say leverage the relationship between your parents. Your parents, at the end of the day, if nobody's going to be there for you, your parents are going to be there for you. And they're always going to be the one that's going to be in your corner, speaking on your behalf, whether that's good, bad, through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Um, so love on your parents, cherish your parents, because um, there's time that you won't be able to get back once the clock is turned and uh, you have gone on to the next chapter in life. Um, so my main thing would be just to leverage that relationship with your parents if you still have them in your life.
All right, and big brother Amon, final thoughts.
Okay, I'm gonna go a different direction for the parents. Um, your relationship, well, discipline is important, but a relationship with your children are important as well. It's definitely a balance. Learn how to balance both. Um, your kids should be able to come to you in a time of need or want to express things to you. They should be able to talk to you, but still have that respect. Whether it's something bothering them or just something personal. But definitely balance the relationship and the discipline.
And there you have it. Hey, my sons, hey, I love y'all, man. Thank you all for taking the time to do this. I mean, I think this is important. I think a lot of people, will benefit from what you've said. And I just, I'm very appreciative, for you to do this. So thank you so much. All right, y'all good?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, yes sir.
All right. Hey, well, I'm gonna see y'all soon, man. Q, I know you going to. Well, y'all got a game in what, Alabama? No, we who y'all play this week
We play Lane College at
at
home,
at Tuskegee. Okay, and
and
then
the following week we'll be at Alabama A&M for their homecoming.
okay,
So
that should be live.
we'll be
I'm at to pull my gold boots out, man, and come on out.
on out.
Amon, what you got going on for the weekend?
Well, I got work tomorrow. And then I'm actually meeting with somebody about printing some clothing or this clothing line I'm
Okay.
starting. Yeah, that's pretty much
All right.
it for the weekend.
All right, Nigel, what you got going? You getting ready for your you getting ready for your college your Black college tour on tomorrow on Monday. What schools y'all going to? You remember?
North Carolina A&T, Howard, Fisk.
North Carolina Central? No.
I think we are going to North Carolina Central too. There's a few other schools that we'll be going to, a few museums too. So looking
All
forward
right.
to that.
Well, good. Well, good. Well, hey, thanks again, my sons. I love y'all, man, and I will talk to y'all soon.
All
All
right.
right.
All right,
All
love
right.
you too.
Love you
All
Love
too.
y'all.
All right, love y'all, man. All right.
And there you have it. And there you have it. A conversation with my sons. Ah, man. This made my heart proud just to be able to have that dialogue. And if you have children and you don't have the best relationship with them, it's okay. My relationship with my sons have not always been the best. We've had our ups and downs. But you know what? Like my son Amon said, it's all about the relationship. Maintain that relationship. Don't let anything happen to that relationship, because your children are still your children. They will need you. Wow. What a good segment, man. Got me reflecting and thinking about ways that my sons and I can help the community through helping parents to be better parents. Parenting is the greatest gift that we've been given, and we can't fumble that ball because we only have one opportunity. Until next time, I'm your host, James TheOrator, here at Super Speak Sundays. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button and share this with your family and friends. We'll see you next week.